Good morning, guys. Thanks for joining this session. In today's session, we are going to cover the checkpoint endpoint security plus EDR. And I'm Javed from Redington pre-sales for Checkpoint. If you have any checkpoint related inquiries, any POCs, any technical support BOQ for any requirement, you can contact me. I will provide my contact details, everything after this session. And yes, today's session we are going to cover the endpoint and all the modules of the endpoint security. SandBlast, our endpoint security is called SandBlast Agent. It includes a systematic way of protecting the threats, all the advanced techniques, starting from the known signature anti-malware, and then the signatureless mechanism and advanced machine learning, behavior analytics for ransomware protection, and we have EDR, and then full disk encryption, removable media encryption, device control. We have all these features, so we'll cover everything one by one. So as I said, the endpoint security is called SandBlast Agent, and it includes advanced threat prevention to your traditional AV agents, and uh, and uh, we have different sandboxing solution unlike our competitors, which is called threat emulation and threat extraction. Threat emulation and extraction will work together and prevent the patient zero attack also. So in other endpoints, what you used to do for patient zero, for blocking the patient zero attack, you will configure the block until verdict in the sandboxing, but it will cause the production delays, and it is not friendly to the users. It will make the production loss. But here we have threat emulation and extraction. That threat emulation, what it will do, it will just take the malicious components of the file and share the file attachment in the trusted form. For example, let's say you have any Word document, send it to customer, and uh, it contains lots of macros. So what checkpoint emulation, threat emulation will do, it will take the macros, the malicious contents which are vulnerable to attack. It will take everything, then it will send the trusted copy to the user. So this is called a threat emulation, threat emulation, and threat. This is called a threat extraction, and threat emulation is like it will just process that attachment in our sandboxing solution with different techniques, the memory exploit and everything. So in case any threats, anything found in the attachment, it will be forwarded to the checkpoint endpoint manager, and the threat sharing capability is there. So this will be shared with all the checkpoint products and everything. So in future, that never seen before attacks will get prevented using the signature based method only. It won't go to the emulation again. So this is called threat extraction and emulation, and we can prevent the zero-day phishing attacks and malicious web downloads. So like in all the endpoint security products, there will be the web filtering, the web reputation kind of thing. But for phishing only, we have a particular module here. So it will just look for the phishing characteristics, not only the URL reputation. It will check lots of other parameters also to confirm whether it is a phishing site or not. We'll check that one by one, and automated forensic and remediation. So this is our EDR solution. This is our endpoint detection and remediation solution. So it will collect the metadata of all the operating system. Like you can even install it in Windows, Linux, Mac, anywhere. It will collect the metadata of the operating system and it will be forwarded to the endpoint manager for further analysis. So for example, let's say any attachment or something you try to load into the system, the Windows operating system. So what it will do, like it will collect the metadata about that things, which process launched and what is the behavior, registry value changed or not. It will take all the metadata of the files and all the behavior of the user and send it to the endpoint manager. Either it will be on the cloud or on-prem. So in that way, uh, if in case if admin want to further analyze the root cause of the file or root cause of the attack, this metadata will be useful for them. And file emulation and sanitation we covered, and detects and quarantined infected systems. We have outbreak prevention policy, which will isolate the infected machines out of the system, and it can be done through our compliance model also. So, so in checkpoint, as I said, these 0-day phishing attacks components and and full ransomware restoration capability, and and EDR, advanced EDR functionality, and threat emulation and extraction. These features are not available with any of the competitors in the market now. So this is the standard features for the all checkpoint products. So we just separate the detection techniques. We are not relying on one prevention techniques. There is a layer of prevention and detection technologies, and we will just separate the uh, components into two things: online protection and offline protection. So online, we can't always rely on the online protection, because if users are going in the flight or no internet access areas, and if they are putting some USB pen drive or something into the laptop with the threads, then it will attack everything. It will steal the data, and endpoint the online protections won't be effective during that time when internet access is not there with the system. So we have a set of detection technologies in the offline protection as well, and automated incident analysis, behavior guard, anti-exploit, zero phishing. These things are available for offline protection, and EDR also there. This includes full attack chain remediation. If any incident happen, you can check the graphical overview and a graphical map of overall attack from where it origin, and what is the attack behavior, and everything will be visible clearly. And ransomware URL filtering, antibot is to prevent the CNC communication center, and URL filtering also there, and anti-ransomware with the full file and folder restoration feature also there. So you can restore the whole snapshot instead of one particular file also. And our endpoint protection includes three areas of components, like the data protection is there, access control is there, threat prevention is there. So under the data protection, we can protect the data at rest, data in transfer, data in motion. Everything will be protected using the data protection. We have full disk encryption. If customer want to follow any compliance, or they want to enhance the security of the infrastructure, then they can go with the full disk encryption. It will encrypt the overall machine, and external media encryption also there, which is file based encryption. If any sensitive data going out of the network, we can encrypt. And document encryption, document access control. We have capsule workspace also, and port protection. So device control, these features are there. And endpoint firewall, the application control, endpoint compliance, endpoint IPsec, and SSL VPN. These are all coming under the access control. So if we block the applications, so if we control the application and block the malicious applications, then we can reduce the attack surface, and endpoint will also play important role in that, and endpoint firewall. And compliance model, like this kind of compliance model is not with any other vendor. Like you can apply the network access control like policies, like the agent should have the latest version, the incident, the any malware incident or threat incident should not happen for this many times. Like that, whatever you want to put in the compliance policy, you can configure, and accordingly the endpoint will connect. If endpoint not matching that particular criteria, it will be blocked to join in the network. And you can also give access to the corporate critical resource when certain complaints met. Otherwise, the complaints access, the corporate critical corporate resource access will be denied. We can also configure the policies like this, similar to that. And this is like the package based file. You can even include the IPsec and SSL VPN client into the endpoint package for particular group of users if you want. So we are going to see what are all the components in these things. And full disk encryption, as we said, all the data related things will be coming under the data protection. And access control will include firewall, application control, endpoint compliance, and everything. And advanced prevention, we just categorized into two things: offline protection and online protection. Online protection, this threat emulation, extraction, anti-bot, URL filtering, as you know, this will require the online protection. This will require the internet access for the endpoint. And some of the offline protections method also there. You can check on the top. And forensic analysis, EDR includes forensic connections, automated incident analysis report, full attack chain remediation, automated machine quarantine. So most of the endpoints in the market, endpoint EDR in the market, you need to check the IOC and everything, the critical incidents, and you need to create the isolation policy and everything. But here you can also automate the incident on analysis report, automated the machine quarantine things, and the full attack chain remediation can be checked. So these kind of advanced features are there. So how SandBlast agent work? Web download sent to the remote SandBlast, and sanitized version delivered properly, original file emulated in the background. So whenever you download any file, the in the browser only, you will have the threat emulation and extraction plugins. So threat extraction plugin, like the file will be emulated in the background, and a sanitized version of the file will be delivered to you. In case if you want to see the original file, you can still download from that plugin. So these kind of advanced feature are there for the sandboxing. So roles of successful endpoint security solution. So this includes all the full, it should have the protection at every attack lifecycle, the prevent before it runs, runtime protection, contain and remediate, understand and respond, reduce attack surface. So under the reduce attack surface, we have application control, the peripheral, the device control, the data in motion, the endpoint firewall, and everything. And encryption, in data in motion, we have a set of things, and the data at rest and use, we have full disk encryption and media encryption. And endpoint compliance policy will also reduce the attack lifecycle. As I said, if any machines with lots of malware incidents joining the network, then we can control the corporate resource access to that particular endpoint. So these kind of policies can be configured using these compliance model. So we all know about how full disk encryption will work. Full disk encryption, there will be some MBR, the master boot record. So where we will have the image, checkpoint image and everything. So this modified partition boot record has the checkpoint pre-boot checkpoint FD a checkpoint FTE image. So whenever user restart, or just log into the laptop, it will be going to the pre-boot screen uh, of the system, and then once they enter the username and password, it will check with the policy server. It will give the additional layer of authentication. Then once the credential match and authentication succeeded, then they will enter, and the operating system will be decrypted first. And from the operating system, if user click any files or any folder, copy any file folders from the hard disk, it will be still in the encrypted stage, but operating system has the access for all the encrypted files which are located in other than the C drive. So media encryption, if any sensitive data passing through the network, we can enable the encryption so that other users won't open the legitimate files, the encrypted files and everything. So we can also segregate the data based on the data classification things, non-business data and business data. We can encrypt the business data, and we can ignore the non-business data. This can be done using the along with the uh, along with the pattern match policies. The how port protections work. So port protection is nothing but it is the peripheral device, the device control and everything. So you need to control everything. As you can see in the right side, there is some list of peripheral device access policies and the components, and you can just allow or block the access type accordingly. If you want to allow particular device, you can allow, otherwise you can block everything. Prevent before it runs, block known attacks, prevent unknown attacks, and anti-exploit these inhibit user mistakes, zero phishing. So all these techniques will come under prevent before it runs. So online and offline we already discussed. This is like exploit protection. Like now there are lots of signatureless attacks coming to the system, and it would be in JavaScript, VB script, PowerShell script, and during the perimeter firewall does not have capability to block this kind of signatureless attacks. So we have the uh, post execution machine learning techniques. So whenever these PowerShell script or JavaScript gets downloaded to the system, it will try to execute the set of code in the PowerShell tool or something. Then during that time, the it will check the runtime execution, machine learning algorithm and everything. It will block it. This is for the zero phishing. This is very important feature in CheckPoint. As I said earlier, this is one of the feature which is not available with any of the vendor in the market. They may have the web reputation, the URL filtering kind of feature, but zero phishing is the important one. As you know, the phishing is the number one threat vector in the email. So we need to block this kind of phishing attacks. The checkpoint is very strong in this approach. So whenever you open any site, it will just tell you this is deceptive site blocked. And when you try to provide your corporate password to any of your personal things, then then it will tell you the corporate password policy is exposed. And so these kind of things are advanced zero phishing attacks protection techniques. So let's say, for example, the how zero phishing work. Now user received one mail from Office 365 team. 365 team. So they click the verify now icon, and user access to new site triggers revive. Okay, and then evaluation based on reputation and advanced heuristic, and verdicts issued in seconds. So whenever during the time of click, it will be going to the checkpoint thread cloud. The request will be going to the checkpoint thread cloud. So it will check each and every parameter: IP reputation, the URL similarity, title similarity, visual similarity, text similarity. So this will check all the parameters, and it will provide the phishing score and verdict everything. So based on that, user will be allowed to access. If verdict is blocked, then the message will be visible in the user screen. And how credential protection works: preventing reuse of corporate credentials. So, for example, if you are using some password in the corporate resource login credentials and everything, then if you are using the same password in any social networking or any of your personal account, then it will tell you the corporate password expose message. And this set of detection technologies are for runtime protection. So runtime protection, the fileless malware, signatureless attacks, and ransomware attacks, everything will be coming under this runtime protection. So how anti-ransomware work? Uh, and we have the behavior analysis model, which will constantly monitor for ransomware specific behavior, like any process trying to encrypt the files in folder or not. So data snapshot will be continuously create short-term file backups. So whenever try to encrypt any file, even if the legitimate encryption also happen, then it will just take the continuously create short-term file backups. So upon detection, it will analyze initial forensic to analyze attack details, stop and quarantine the elements of the attack, and after this we can restore the encrypted file from snapshot. So this is signatureless malware, otherwise called fileless malware. So this can be detected. So hacker will use the powerful technique, full system privilege and persistent. There is no malicious file. There is no malicious process. So this thing, when executed in the system, at that time during the post execution only, we will come to know the malicious behavior. That time we should have the runtime protection model to block. So what kind of the runtime protection, the file signature based protection available with checkpoint? Deep powerful hooks and code deep obfuscation and analysis and script argument scanning. So these techniques are available with the checkpoint fileless malware protections. So contain attacks and control damages. So as you know, at the during the last stage of attack only the CNC is happening. So after the malware loaded and once it is executed, it will try to communicate with the CNC server. That time we have the antibot technique to prevent the CNC attacks and prevent lateral movement by isolating infected endpoints. We have endpoint firewall and remediate and restore encrypted files. As you know, this is malware, and sterilize the full attack chain. This is forensic remediation. That is our EDR solution. So our EDR solution will provide the full attack chain remediation. What is the origin of that file, the malicious file, and how it behaves. It is contacting with which CNC server. All the details will be visible clearly. So this is how the antibot work. It will detect the CNC channel and block it. And access control. How access control works? Under the access control, we have complaints model. We have remote mobile access models to corporate resource. So and firewall and application controls also there. These models will be useful for customer to secure the endpoint access, data in transit encryption, and verify complaints. So now comes to the important part, the EDR, understand and respond. So the good endpoint security solutions should have the support in every should have the protection in every attack stage, and after having the protections in pre-execution, the post-execution machine learning, the known malware, the signature-less attacks, and access control, everything. At last, we have the EDR solution also. So if something goes wrong, or some incident, if the customer want to analyze further, if they want to collect the forensics and everything, they can make use of these EDR solution to understand the full attack and immune other surfaces by sharing IOC and IOA. The indicator of compromise, indicator of attack is very important thing. So if we have this IOC, we can do the automatic sweeping at the server side to check whether that same kind of IOC, the attacks are matching in the endpoint system or not. We can do the system wide, the full infrastructure wide scanning also using this IOC and IOD, and actively hunt threats. These are some of the snapshot of our EDR solution. So how it will be looking like. So it will provide the clear picture about how many hosts are under the attack, and what are all the details collected from the metadata collected from the machines, attack types, and attack categories. Everything is visible here. So each and everything showing something. What is in the damage? All files cleaned or not? Is it a real attack? How did it get in? What is the source of the attack? So it will provide full clear details, so you can understand the full attack, what is happening in your network. So forensic data continuously collected from various OS sensors. Report generation, this is the first step. We will collect the metadata from all the OS, and report generation automatically triggers upon detection of network events or third party AV. So report generation automatically triggered upon detection of network. Report events are automatically generated. No need of manual interventions to create the on-demand report or anything. Everything will be automatically generated. And advanced algorithm and analyze raw forensic data, then digested incident report sent to the smart event. So from the smart event, you can this is like unified management and reporting, where you can see the firewall logs, the firewall threats and endpoint threats, CloudGuard source. So you can see all the threats available in the CheckPoint portfolio. So what are all the Windows platform we support? What are the platform we support? The Windows is there, and Mac is there, Chromebook is there, VDA environment is there. This is SandBlast agent for Mac. We have all the advanced features, the threat emulation, extraction, and anti-ransomware file system, and everything. like only the antibot forensic and Safari browser extension, the anti-malware also recently added. So we have a collection of these techniques, advanced threat prevention technologies plus baseline threat prevention technologies. These both will be included in the endpoint protection, checkpoint endpoint protection. That's it, guys. Thanks for joining the session. If you have any queries, you can ask me now. I will provide my contact details and everything